well, no one said what the presentation had to be about, so I'm going to tell you a story, which fits quite nicely with Leon saying about a story. It's not a video, unfortunately, but it's a story that I hope will give you a bit more information about who I am and what I do and why I do it. And hopefully this will work. And if it doesn't, then something's gone wrong. There we go. So this is the story of Leslie Whiting. That's Leslie Whiting, funnily enough, in the middle of the picture. He's very, very significant to the work that I do. So let me tell you a little bit about Leslie. Leslie went to school in the 1950s and the 1960s, and he often wore a dunce's cap because he couldn't spell and he couldn't write very well. And I know that sounds odd, but they really did sit them in the corner, and they really did make them feel really stupid because he was never able to spell at all. So what he was good at, he was really, really good at maths. But that was not recognised because of his poor writing skills. Even writing numbers, he wasn't clear on. So things like, the general maths, addition, mental arithmetic, brilliant at, but that was really overshadowed by his poor skills at writing. So, funnily enough, in those days, he wasn't encouraged to stay at school. He was seen as a failure. He wasn't able to do any exams, and he left school at 15 to start an apprenticeship as a barber. So, he thought when he left school that he was thick and that all he could do was become a barber. However, Leslie excelled at his job of being a barber. He was absolutely brilliant with customers. He could talk to anyone about anything and was always interested in what they had to say. He was 100% reliable. He never, ever had a day off sick. He did all the banking. His boss realised very quickly that he was good with numbers, and he was put in charge of all the banking, all the counting. And he could cut hair as long as it was a short back and sides, because that's what barbers did in those days. However, he still thought he was thick. When his boss retired, he handed the business over to Leslie because that's how much he respected and respected him and felt he had the skills to run the business. So he became a business owner at 40. Whilst being a business owner, he employed staff, he trained up apprentices, but he still thought he was thick. So Leslie retired at 65 and he sold the business. He sold the business so that he was actually able to go on a round the world trip for his retirement. He did a 12-week round the world tour, picked up his biggest dream. He went to the Galapagos Islands and saw all the birds. He was a really keen twitcher. He still thought he was thick. Leslie was also bullied in his private life. People who were unkind really tapped into his lack of self-confidence and self-esteem. He was told he was thick by his last wife, and he believed her. He gave up driving his car. He gave up going to the library to read books. And he died in July 2019. He died thinking he was thick. Leslie Whiting was my dad. God. Sorry, I'm going to cry. Sorry, I didn't realize I was going to do this. He is my wife. Oh, and that's my dad. 2 years before he died. So, I want you to imagine if Leslie had someone like me helping him when he was a teenager. Oh gosh, sorry. So if he had had someone like me, he would have discovered his natural learning ability. He would have understood that he was a tonal and a kinesthetic learner, which means he's really good at learning things practically, and he's really good at listening and talking. All of those things came through as he was a barber, talking to people. He could cut hair with his eyes closed, which is a bit worrying, but he could, and he did sometimes. His problem with spelling was because he was dyslexic. It was not picked up, obviously, that many years ago. It's still not picked up brilliantly. He would have seen all his achievements as successes, and he wouldn't have been bullied in his adult life. Sorry, my phone's gone. And he would have died seeing all his successes and not believing he was fit. Oh, sorry about that. So I am a learning coach, and these are some of the comments I get from previous students. Thanks, Sarah. I didn't believe I could do it, but you did, and I made it to med school. After 3 failed attempts at English, 4 sessions with you, and he only went and passed it. And not only passed it, he got a B. You have restored his confidence and self-belief. Thank you. So my why is a big why. I'm really sorry, you probably can see why it's a big why. I want to make a difference. Everyone can learn. Some just need a helping hand. There we are.